Mhm. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today Meet the Artist. We are going to talk to Kay and listen to her story about the mentorship journey. And Kay is a calligrapher and an artist from Japan. And we are going to hear about how she didn't start out thinking that she was either a calligrapher or an artist. And when you see how she has progressed, she has really made such great strides. And I'm very excited to present to you Kay. Yay! Over to you, Kay.
Thank you, Dorothy. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. I'm feeling super nervous right now. I will do my best to have a fun presentation. And I'm so honored and grateful to be part of this wonderful program. And I'm so happy to have this opportunity to talk about my journey. So thank you so much, Dorothy, for everything, for organizing everything. And I'm going to start my presentation. So I will share my screen. Okay, can you see it? Okay.
Yes, it's
okay.
good.
Great. Okay. So I think I really pushed myself hard to get out of my comfort zone and learned a lot through this experience. But the path wasn't easy at all. There were times that I felt totally lost or even regretted to join. But every time I felt like that, my dear mentor, Gabriella, and my fellow mentees, Sabina and Stephanie, helped me regain my confidence and encouraged me to keep going. I think art making is usually a lonely process, but in this program, we worked as a team to inspire each other, help each other, and thanks to that wonderful interaction, I was able to create 3 artworks that I'm proud of. So in this presentation, I'm going to share my almost a year-long journey with you, including all the ups and downs. I would be so happy if you can have fun and get an inspiration, even just a little, by listening to my talk. So I'm gonna start my presentation by introducing about myself. My name is Kei Sadaoka. I'm from Japan. I'm a mom of 2 kids. This is my family. My husband is a researcher studying herpes virus. He's always incredibly supportive and a great father to my kids. My daughter, her name is Sarah. She's 15. She's very smart and mature, and she's more like a friend than a daughter to me. And this is my 12-year-old son. He's such a sweet and kind-hearted boy, and his dream is to be an NBA basketball player. And I have a PhD in life science, and I'm working as a research technician by day. This is me observing cultured cells under microscope. I also have to mention that I have a 30+ years of experience in Kendo, which is a Japanese traditional martial art, and I teach Kendo to kids at a local dojo on weekends. I think not many of you are familiar with Kendo, so I will get back to it in another slide later. So my everyday life is pretty busy with taking care of my family, work, and Kendo, but I enjoy making art in my spare time as a hobby. Oops, it froze. Okay. Now I would like to talk about how my mentoring journey started. It all started when Dorothy sent me a message in late January asking if I'm interested in joining this program. My first question that popped in my head was, why me? Because when you look up the description about this program, it says this program is for calligrapher who has a strong foundation in Western calligraphy, and design-related background, a track record of contributions to the calligraphy community, and a passion to grow as an artist. Let's see how many boxes I can check off. I started hand lettering. I started hand lettering in 2019. I've never taken any calligraphy classes, other than a few online workshops. So no, I don't think I can check this box off. Oops. Yes. And design-related background. I do love drawing, painting, and crafting since I was a child, but I've never had a proper art education in my life. So no. Contribution to the calligraphy community. I've been posting my pieces on Instagram, but does that count as a contribution to the community? Not sure. Passion to grow as an artist. Finally, yes. I want to grow as an artist. So I meet only 1/4 of the criteria, which made me feel really anxious. I thought, am I eligible to this program in the first place? Also, I was so scared to join because I had never submitted my piece in any exhibition before. So I wasn't sure if I had the ability to make anything presentable. And the mentees are required to make not only 1, but 3 artworks. Can I do that? Am I ready to take this challenge? Do I have enough time to commit to this program? Do I have anything to offer to this group? There were like tons of reasons, or maybe I should say excuses, not to join this program. But despite all the uncertainty and fear, the last and the only reason I decided to join this program was that I wanted to grow as an artist. Maybe Dorothy picked me because she saw something in me. I don't know, but I decided to take a leap of faith. Now that I have decided to participate, I had to set my goal. In this program, the mentees are expected to push boundaries to see creative breakthroughs and create works of art. Sounds intimidating, doesn't it? So I have to figure out what is the artistic breakthrough that I want to see, which I've never ever thought about before. These are some of the artworks that I made before. As you can see, I like to use build-up capitals and paint botanical illustrations. These are the things that I enjoy making and feel comfortable with. But I have to try something different, something new, something that's out of my comfort zone in this program. So I took some time to think what I want to try. I reflected on my art making process. It always starts with meticulous planning. I analyze every letter form and composition beforehand, and then start making with a clear image of my goal. But I also felt it would be nice if I can let go of the obsession of being perfect and to be more intuitive and expressive. I want to put my emotions into my pieces. And to achieve that, I thought I should explore expressive writing and abstract art. The idea of setting them as my goal felt intimidating. I didn't even know how or where to start. But I thought I might be able to pull it off if I have someone to guide me or give me advice along the way. And this is the perfect time to take on a challenge. So I took this opportunity of this mentorship to dive in and explore a new horizon. The next question is, how can I be original? What is the kind of art that only I can make? There are already so many beautiful artworks out there, but I don't want to make copies of them. My art has to come out from inside of me. And that's when I thought of Kendo. I have been practicing Kendo for a very long time, and that experience is unique to me. And with this unique experience, I might be able to create something unique. So I decided to choose Kendo as my main theme for my artwork. So let me talk a bit about Kendo. Kendo is a Japanese martial art descended from swordsmanship that uses bamboo swords and protective armor. And this is a video of me doing Kendo. Let's see. Okay. I'm on the right side. And I just got ippon. I started learning Kendo when I was 11 years old, when my father, who was also a Kendo practitioner, sent me to a local dojo. At first, I didn't like it much. The practice is exhausting in summer because of the heavily padded thick protector, and it's extremely cold in winter because we practice in bare feet. The practice is intense, and you get bruises all the time. But as I continued to practice, I gradually started to find it fun and rewarding. If you practice seriously, you get to win. I was a competitive girl, so winning felt really good. And I also liked the fact that Kendo is one of the rare martial arts that people in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s can practice with young people and still beat them. It's because Kendo is not just about physical ability. There are so many other factors that make you a better Kendo practitioner. And one of them is to know how to control your mind. Next, I would like to talk what I learned from Kendo. I learned to be resilient. Oops, sorry. I don't want this video to start. Okay. I learned to be resilient. You sometimes win and sometimes lose. Either way, you always have something to learn. And with that in mind, you practice all over again to do better in the next match. I learned to persevere. Even during the hottest summer or coldest winter, you keep practicing to get better for the team and for yourself. I learned to have respect and gratitude towards others. You cannot practice Kendo alone. You always have to have someone to practice with. There is a saying in Kendo that I really like. If you hit, reflect. If you are hit, be thankful. Kendo constantly offers me a reminder of the value of self-reflection, respect, and discipline. It had a great impact on my life and affected how I perceive things. It's not too much to say that Kendo made who I am today. So it was quite natural for me to choose Kendo as my theme of my artwork, because it's what I'm passionate about and it represents me well. And I would be happy if people get to know how wonderful Kendo is through my art. So now the theme has been set, it's time to start art making. I've never tried any kind of abstract expression before, so I had no clue what I like or what I'm capable of. So I started trying out different techniques to figure it out. I tried mixed media. I tried paper dyeing, which my mentor Gabriela taught us in one of our meetings. I tried suminagashi, which is a Japanese paper marbling technique. I enjoyed all the different methods, but I felt using sumi inks fits my Kendo theme well. The contrast between the white and black is so powerful and resonate well with the intensity of Kendo practice. So I decided to use sumi ink for my art. I really liked using sumi ink, but paper marbling is almost impossible to control. And even though what I was aiming for was to let go of my control and to be more intuitive and expressive, I still wanted to have a little more control over what I'm doing. So I tried mark making technique using sumi ink next. I used various tools to see which one is suitable for creating textures that I like. I tried various types of brushes, including Japanese calligraphy brushes, which I borrowed from my daughter. Because in Japan, all kids learn Japanese calligraphy at school, so everyone has these kind of brushes at home. I also tried ruling pen, cola pen, parallel pen, and even some stuff from the nature that I picked up on the street. And this is a cut-off tip of the string of my Kendo gear. It works similar to a brush, but the tip is very soft and limp, so it's much more difficult to control, which means it can create unexpected textures. It's prone to happy accidents, I would say, and I really liked it. I also tried diluting sumi ink with water and made different shades of gray and saw how different dilutions interact with each other. As I was doing a lot of experiments, I found out that sumi ink is much more versatile than I expected. When you use the darkest black color, you can create a very strong and energetic lines. But as you dilute it with water, you can also create a very soft and gentle look. So it was never boring to play with sumi ink. While I was doing a lot of experiments, I also tried to pick up new skills. I took Gabriella's online workshop about bookbinding, which was fun and full of information. But it was also a challenge because the workshop was conducted only in Spanish. But I managed to learn anyway. This is my very first accordion book I made after the workshop. I used the papers I made from Suminagashi experiment. It turned out pretty, and I really liked the organic look of it. So I decided to make an accordion book for one of my pieces for the exhibition. I also practiced writing using a ruling pen. I had my ruling pen for a while, but it had been collecting dust on my desk. So if I want to do expressive writing, I thought it was the perfect tool to use. So I picked it up and started practicing. And this folded pen textbook, written by Carol DeBosch, was so helpful. It's a great book, and if any of you are interested in learning how to use folded pen or ruling pen, I highly recommend this book. Up to this point, 4 months had already passed since our first meeting. I had already decided my theme, what medium to use, what kind of technique and tools I use. But it was about time to stop experimenting and to get serious about making an actual piece. So I started thinking how I can combine all these elements into one piece. But I still didn't have a clear image what I should make at this point. Around the time, I happened to find this image on the internet. It's a photo of a Japanese room with paper windows. I thought it represents the beauty of Japanese minimalism. The room has no furniture, just a tatami floor and paper windows, and still it looks gorgeous. This photo made me want to create a piece that has the same calmness, simplicity, and dignified elegance. And I thought the dimmed light that comes through the paper window plays a big role in creating this distinctive beauty. So the question is, how can I project this beauty into my calligraphy piece? And the first thing that came into my mind was to make a paper lantern. That way I thought I could combine all these elements into one piece. So I started making a prototype. This is the prototype I made soon after. I did some mark making with sumi ink and made a paper lantern using them. The black frame is also made with paper, so the structure was squashy and kind of looked crumpled, but I liked the concept. And what I liked the most about this is that it looked totally different depending on the lighting. The photo on the left side was taken under natural light. And these are the photos of the same lantern, but when you make the room dark and put a candle inside it, the look changes dramatically. They had the same beauty the Japanese room had. So I felt sure that I was going into the right direction and started working on my first piece. First, I made a wooden frame for the lantern because I wanted to have a sturdy structure. Next, I did a lot of writing and mark making on the rice papers to make the surface of the lantern. Lastly, I made a seal from scratch by carving out an eraser because I needed the small red stamp to complete my calligraphy piece. In Japan, it's actually easy to order this kind of stuff online, but I wanted to make one by myself. By the way, this table you see in these photos is a dining table. I did all these works on our dining table because I don't have a studio or any workplace for myself. So it was quite a challenge because when you make art, You make a big mess, but even when you want to keep doing what you're doing, you have to stop somewhere and clean up everything and serve a meal for your family on the exact same table. So I really wished I had my own workplace, but it is what it is. Anyway, after a lot of work, this is the first paper lantern I made. It looked good when it's lit, but then I realized that it looked awful under natural light. Rice paper is really thin, so when you write on it using sumi ink, the paper gets kind of crumpled. I was aware of it, but I thought if I stretched the paper enough when I glued it down onto the wooden frame, it will get straightened, but it didn't. So now I need to find a solution. And my only solution that I could think of was to use a thicker paper. But I was worried if I use a thicker paper, the light doesn't go through the paper enough. Then Gabriella gave me a brilliant idea. She suggested me to paste the rice paper onto a transparent plastic sheet, like an acetate sheet. Acetate sheets don't block lights, so it was a brilliant idea. However, even after finding the solution, the process wasn't easy at all because of the nature of the rice paper. I didn't want to leave any air bubbles or wrinkles when gluing down the paper onto the acetate sheet, but if I put too much pressure on the paper to spread, the paper tears easily. Gabriella taught us a special recipe for a glue, but I still had to figure out the perfect softness so that it spreads evenly on the acetate sheet, but still holds the paper firmly after it dries. So there were a lot of challenges, but after a lot of trial and error, I managed to make a beautiful stretched sheet to cover the lantern. And this is it. Now it looks beautiful. And let me explain about the word I wrote here. Zanshin is a word used in Kendo. The literal translation of this word is lingering mind or remaining mind. In Kendo, making a successful attack is only half of the equation. You must remain vigilant, calm, and collected, even after attacking. You have to contain the intense emotions inside you. In Kendo, scoring a point is theoretically taking a life. So it is highly inappropriate to show pleasure or throwing your arms in the air with joy. It is considered an act lacking zanshin. And if you do so, the point you get will be canceled. So it's also a matter of respect. I think zanshin represents the very essence of the spirit of Kendo. So that's why I chose this word for my first piece. And this is the close-up look. This is the opposite side of the lantern. This big one letter is a kanji character, meaning heart or mind. In Japanese, it's read kokoro. Japanese brush calligraphy wasn't my forte, but I still wanted to write this kanji because it is one of the kanjis that consists the word zanshin. And when I practice Kendo, the state of mind, kokoro, is the thing that I value the most. These are the sides of the lantern. I try to mirror the quick movement of the sword in the left side. The right side expresses the serene moment after the attack. Now that I completed my first project, I had to start working on my second piece. It was September already. As I mentioned in the previous slide, I had decided to make an accordion book for one of my pieces. So for my second project, I started working on an accordion book. I was going to use sumi ink for this piece as well, but I wanted to add some color to it this time. In Kendo, all the garments and protective gears are traditionally dyed using indigo dye. This is because the organic indigo dye made from the indigo plant makes the garment warmer to wear and also gives the garment antibacterial properties. This is me fully suited up. As you can see, everything is dyed with indigo. So I was quite familiar with this color, and I had some indigo dye for dyeing Kendo gears at home. So I tried to see if I can use it for my art. I tried this indigo dye with a lot of other media, such as sumi ink, acrylic ink, granulation medium, salt, and so on, to find interesting textures. And this is the prototype I made for my second project. I used indigo dye and sumi ink together, and I really loved the texture they create. I thought this is perfect for my accordion book. But then I started to think that this design might be a bit too simple. It's scary to keep your art simple, isn't it? So I added some stitching using a red embroidery thread and some gold stamping too. But I wasn't sure if I really needed them. So I asked Gabriella in our regular meeting. She simply said, "It's up to you. It depends on what message you want to convey through your art," she told me. Whether it's a red stitching or a gold stamp or anything, you have to have a certain reason why you add them. And she also asked, "Can you explain why you need them in your art?" Her question hit me hard because I added them without giving it much thought. I just thought it might look prettier if I add some embellishments. So I went back to where I started again and tried to really think what I want to express with my art. Then I remembered that what I wanted was to express the minimalistic beauty of Japanese culture, the calmness it has. So I decided to get rid of all the embellishments. However, even after that decision, I was still not 100% happy with my work. I felt something was missing, but I couldn't figure it out. So I kept thinking and thinking. And one day when I was in the dojo doing Kendo practice, I was still thinking of my art. Well, actually, this project had been haunting me 24/7. I even dreamed about it at night. It was nerve-wracking, to be honest. Anyway, after the practice, I took my headgear off and tried to put it away and casually looked at it. And then I felt like, this is it. This red lining surrounded by indigo blue looked so beautiful, and I felt the urge to use this color palette in my work. So as soon as I got back from the dojo, I cut a piece of red paper and placed it beneath my mark-making piece. And it was the moment that everything clicked. So I started to assemble all the elements into one book. For this accordion book, I chose a quote from the Book of Five Rings, written by a renowned swordsman and philosopher, Musashi Miyamoto. It consists of 5 scrolls: earth, water, fire, wind, and void, and they covers the techniques, tactics, strategy, and philosophy of martial arts. I chose the text from the water scroll because it mentions about the importance of molding the mind through discipline. And as in my first project, I wanted my work to be related to mind. So the quote goes, "The mind is not static, even in times of calm. In times of haste, the mind does not rush. The body does not carry the mind, and the mind does not carry the body. Be sure to maintain a spirit that is untainted and extensive. Wisdom will settle in the seat of a broad mind." For people who has never experienced Kendo, it might sound like a riddle, but for me, it makes perfect sense. It basically means that you always have to have a calm mind, and the body and the mind has to be in perfect harmony at all times. I wanted to write the text using the ruling pen or a cola pen, but because the space that I can write was limited, I needed a tool that has a similar tip, a smaller tip. So I ground the tip of my pilot parallel pen into a curved shape so that it works like a folded pen, but still smaller. After giving careful consideration to the composition, I started writing the text. I was really focused to put my emotions into my writing, remembering the intensity of the Kendo practice. And I really liked how they turned out. But when I came back to it with fresh eyes the next day, I thought There are some parts that I don't like. I might be able to write better if I try again. So I try to rewrite. I try to write with better composition, with cleaner lines. I try to write more neatly. But no matter how many times I tried, it looked kind of boring compared to the first one. I was so frustrated and kept rewriting and rewriting until ran out of paper. And then I realized that maybe they look boring because the text lost the emotion, the energy it had in the first try, while focusing too much on the letter forms or compositions. It really was an interesting experience for me. I thought I was supposed to get better at writing and to be able to make a better piece if I practice a lot. But that wasn't the case. Well, this is just my opinion. So other people could have a different interpretation, but that's what I thought. There were still some parts that I didn't like in my first writing, but I decided to let it go and use it for my finished piece. Because what matters is not to write perfectly, but to put my emotions, my feelings into my artwork. And in that sense, I think I succeeded. It was already October, and I had less than a month left to complete my final piece. So I had to start making quickly. But because I spent so much time and put so much effort in my second piece, I felt kind of burnt out at this point and felt like I was totally out of idea. But thankfully, I had my dear mentor and fellow mentees to help me. In our Zoom meeting, I confessed that I'm totally stuck. Then Gabriella suggested me some ideas of hers, like how about this or how about that? And I didn't actually went with the exact idea, but thanks to this conversation, I could come up with a new idea a few days after. It was also helpful to listen to the conversations of Gabriella with other mentees. Every mentee was working on a completely different project, but I could always get some new ideas and inspirations by listening to their talks. I felt so lucky to be in the group with them, and I think I couldn't have completed 3 artworks without them. So for my final project, I decided to make another lantern, but this time I didn't write on a paper. Instead, I cut papers. Even though it was made by cutting a sheet of paper, I wanted the text to look as if they were written with energetic brush strokes. So it took some time to decide the whole design. It was also challenging to place all the letters touching each other somehow so that none of them would fall off after cutting. But I enjoyed this process because it was like playing with puzzle, and I love doing puzzles. The cutting process was time-consuming, but it was so satisfying to see the letters gradually emerging from a piece of paper. And it was fun to be able to see through them. This is me playing with the cutout paper. And finally, after a lot of struggle, I managed to complete my final piece. I picked 3 words representing the state of mind that Kendo practitioners should achieve through practice. Fudoshin represents a peaceful state of total determination and unshakable will. Mushin is a mind not fixed or occupied by thought or emotion, and thus open to everything. Heijoshin is the fully developed mind that is not disturbed or unbalanced by actions or events. This mind remains calm and unruffled regardless of what happens around us. And when you turn the light on, they look like this. I didn't glue down the inner paper in a washi paper to the outer frame, so the inner paper is removable. When you remove it and shed light on it from the outside, the shadows look gorgeous, which is like a bonus. So looking back, it really was a long and tough journey for me. One thing that I realized is that my art making process was totally different this time. Before this project, my art making process was quite straightforward, like this. I can see the goal when I start creating. It's like running a 100-meter race. But what I experienced in this project was like this. You cannot see the goal from the starting line, but you start anyway, hoping that the path you have chosen will take you somewhere. You are not sure which way to go, so sometimes you get lost and forced to go back. Sometimes you end up with total mess that doesn't go anywhere. Sometimes you go sideways, but find something beautiful or totally unexpected in the end. So it was like running a marathon without a designated route. To be honest, I hate running long distance in my real life, so it was so hard, but it was full of surprises too. I was able to cross the finishing line just because I had my friends running with me side by side all through this journey. So I'm going to end my presentation by giving special thanks to all these amazing people. Thank you, Gabriella. Thank you, Sabine. Thank you, Stephanie, for running this marathon with me. I love you all, and let's keep in touch. Last but not least, thank you so much, Dorothy, for giving me this wonderful opportunity. It would never have been possible to have this meaningful experience and grow as an artist if I hadn't joined this program. So thank you so much. That's it.
Wow, thank you. That was amazing.
Thank you.
Let me add a spotlight to all your friends. And I have to find them first. Hang on. Gabriella. And we have one more. I need to find you. There you go. I gotcha. Yes, what a lovely presentation. Everyone, this is Kay's team. Yeah. Gabriella, do you want to say something to Kay? Or we start with Gabriella and the rest can react also. Go ahead.
But I have no words because she is amazing. She is a very good artist, and she wanted to express her feelings about Japan, and I think we can see that in her work. So she knows I'm proud of her and her friends. We are a group, you know. It was a really nice work together.
Kay, there are a lot of comments in the chat. Later, I will send it to you. I just want to highlight that Anne says you did such a wonderful work, Kay. You grew as an artist. Your work is wonderful and meaningful, so well done. Sabina, do you want to react to Kay's presentation?
I loved how you took everybody on your very personal journey, and I loved that you shared your insecurities you had, especially in the beginning. I referenced somebody to you last week who is not sure if she wants to join or not, and I told her you have to talk to Kay because Kay has been there. So I think this will be super helpful for so many people. And looking at your accordion book and at your letter forms, I can tell you are a calligrapher because you wrote these, especially these pieces from your heart, and you can see the movement in your letters corresponds so beautifully to the movement of your abstract works you paired it with. And I think that is why it works so beautifully. And there were no other letters that could have connected with these pieces in the same way. So thank you so much. I think this was really inspiring for so many people.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sabina.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stephanie?
Well, that was a wonderful presentation. I really enjoyed it. I think what was really neat about that, I mean, we talked a lot in our journey about our projects, just more of the technical things and how we were making the projects, but I didn't get to know you as much as a person, and I just learned so much about you, and it was really cool. And your work is amazing. I mean, gorgeous work. So
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Wow, Kay, I'm just so thankful that you didn't say no to me at the beginning. And I mean, in answer to your question, what I saw in you was an artist. I did see the artist. But it's just that you, like you said, you hadn't kind of questioned like what kind of art or what is your process, how to make it personal, how to engage emotions. So I'm so glad, because I think that Gabriella is the perfect person for you in this journey. And she's very emotive, when you see how she does the colors, the strokes, and I do see a little bit of the influence to give you confidence to be not perfect, but to express with emotion. So Gabriella, thank you. I honor you. You have been a wonderful mentor to Kay. And I think everyone sees that. So does anybody else have questions for Kay? I'm just going to take the rest of us off the spotlight. Anybody has questions? You can unmute, because there aren't that many of us. So anybody want to ask a question or give a reaction? Rosanna says the way you embrace your fears and turn them into art is really inspiring. That's great. Maria says beautiful ideas, and it shows through your work, and the path you took is inspiring. Yeah, I love that, how you explain, Alex is saying it's incredible, a beautiful journey. Mia, your friend, says wonderful presentation, great works of art. Margaret says very relatable. And also she loves your altered pen. Yeah, so it's great. A lot of good comments. So no questions, no comments. Natalia, did you say
I have
something?
a question about the lamp.
Yes.
Are you going to keep that in your house, or is it for sale?
No, I'm going to keep it with me.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, it'd be hard to sell that.
Yeah.
And do you have a place for it in your house?
Not right now, but I have to find somewhere to put.
Yeah.
You can make more, right? And
Yeah.
then for
No,
sale.
but
No?
these are for her.
Yeah, yes. I mean, the
think,
first pieces, very personal.
yes.
Yeah. But I think if you made more, you could find a buyer for it easy. Yeah. Oja says, thank you so much, Kay, for sharing. What a wonderful journey. It was quite relatable. It's inspiring that you broke through your natural instinct and flourished as an artist. Yeah, it's true. True. Anne says it's great to have calligraphy in your home. Yeah, that's right. So, well, if you don't have any more questions, I will stop the recording. Yeah, let's do that.